Coming up today, President Park Geun-hye reiterates her call for the reunification of the two Koreas, saying it is one of the keys to lasting peace and stability in Northeast Asia. A top UN official says more should be done to tackle North Korea's rampant human rights abuses, including the regime's export of virtual slave laborers. Plus, Apple unveils several new products, including new iPhones, the latest version of Apple TV, and even a pencil. Stay tuned for these stories and more. Hello to our viewers around the world. It's 6 a.m. on Thursday, September 10th here in Seoul. Thank you for joining us. I'm Mark Broome. Our top story this morning, President Park Geun-hye has been touting the benefits of a peaceful reunification of the two Koreas, addressing top defense experts and officials in Seoul on Wednesday. The president also called for international support for Seoul's efforts to maintain regional and global security. Lee Soo-eun reports.
저는 한반도에 평화를 정착시키는 일이 동북아와 유라시아를 넘어 인류 공용의 미래를 완성하는 마지막 퍼즐이 될 수 있다고 믿습니다.
Less than a week after unveiling Seoul's plans to begin discussions with Beijing on ways to reunite the two Koreas, President Park Geun-hye has once again stressed the importance of Korean reunification. This time to some 250 defense officials and academics from 32 countries and 4 international organizations gathered in the South Korean capital for the 2015 Seoul Defense Dialogue.
한반도 통일은 북한 핵 문제와 인권 문제의 근본적인 해결책이 될 것이며 세계사적으로는 20세기 냉전의 역사를 종식시키는 일이 될 것입니다.
During her keynote speech, President Park urged North Korea to abandon its infeasible policy line of simultaneously developing nuclear weapons and the economy, but rather come to the path of a genuine development through opening up and reforms. Seoul Defense Dialogue, launched in 2012, is the only multilateral security session hosted by South Korea. And this is the first time for a South Korean leader to attend the event. Earlier in the day at the nation's top office, the president echoed a similar message to the visiting president-designate of the China-led Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, Jin Lee-chin. President Park says she will support the establishment of a Northeast Asia Development Bank meant to specifically develop North Korea's infrastructure if North Korea abandons its nuclear program. Lee Soo-eun, Arirang News.
The U.S. ambassador to South Korea has called on China to play a bigger role in getting North Korea back to talks aimed at dismantling the regime's nuclear weapons program. Speaking in an interview with a local TV news program on Wednesday, Mark Lippert also praised President Park Geun-hye for urging Beijing to exercise more leverage in getting North Korea to change course on its nuclear weapons program during her recent visit to the country for its war anniversary events. Lippert added that the U.S. is paying close attention to the possibility of North Korea test-firing a long-range missile next month to mark the 70th anniversary of the founding of its ruling Workers' Party. South Korea's Red Cross has begun the selection process for next month's reunions for war-separated families. For the details, Han Dan reports.
For some, it was a moment of joy. For others, there was only despair. South Korea's Red Cross has selected the 500 South Koreans who may get a chance to participate in a long-awaited round of inter-Korean family reunions set for October 20th to the 26th at North Korea's Mount Kumgang Resort. The lucky ones were selected at random through a computer-based lottery. However, the candidates were culled from a preliminary shortlist of people that were given priority based on their age, health, and whether they're seeking to meet immediate family or more distant relatives. But as lucky as they are, this is still not the final list of people who will get to meet their long-lost loved ones next month. Of the 500, only 100 will make it to the final list, which will be handed over to North Korea early next month. Only 200 Koreans from South and North will participate in the event. That is by far a number too small, given there are 66,000 survivors in South Korea alone who desperately want to see their relatives one last time before they die. So why only 200? Political watchers say it's because that's the number of people that Mount Kumgang Resort, where the reunions are mostly held, can accommodate at once. Some also point to the fact that Pyongyang reportedly conducts so-called ideological training sessions for its reunion participants. They assume it would be too much trouble for North Korea to carry out those sessions if the number grew too big. Since 2000, 19 inter-Korean family reunions have been held, and only 3,000 people in all are estimated to have met their long-lost relatives. Experts say a new government measure is desperately needed to ensure the reunions will happen on a regular basis in the future. 한다은, Arirang News.
The top UN official on North Korea's human rights is currently in the South Korean capital to take a closer look at the widespread violations in the north. He says the UN is paying close attention to the dire situation north of the border. Hwang Sang-hee reports.
North Korea's labor export has been brought up to the attention of the United Nations. That's according to UN Special Rapporteur on North Korean human rights, Marzuki Darusman.
That's now being brought to the attention of the UN since last March, and therefore it will then now become let us say, an issue, a matter to be addressed from here on by the UN.
As many as 150,000 North Koreans are believed to be toiling under harsh conditions in around 40 countries, including Qatar and Russia. The workers reportedly receive just 10% of their pay, with the rest going to the North Korean leadership. North Korea is one of the few nations in the world that refuses to join the International Labor Organization. Mr. Darusman said putting an end to this state-sponsored labor export will deliver a double blow to the regime.
Addressing this issue is addressing a major source of hard currency for the regime, and therefore it is also a pressure point on the North Koreans in this regard.
With more than a year since the release of the landmark UN report on North Korean human rights, Mr. Darusman called for concrete actions.
It is now time to consider the concrete measures that should be taken to ensure accountability for those crimes and to set up a broader process of transitional justice.
Mr. Darusman will be back in Seoul in November before he submits a new report on North Korea's human rights situation to the UN in March next year. Hwang Sang-hee, Arirang News.
Now it's an exciting time for tech fans because Apple has unveiled a whole bunch of new shiny devices at an event in the United States. The company has launched a brand new version of its best-selling iPad tablet, the iPad Pro. It packs a larger 12.9-inch screen. That's a third bigger than the previous iteration, and the keyboard is bigger as well. The new iPad Pro will be usable with the Apple Pencil, which will retail for $99 US. Apple also launched the next version of its Apple TV streaming device. It features a touch-sensitive remote control, voice search, and an app store. The latest iPhone models were also unveiled. They are called the 6S and the 6S Plus and come with a feature called 3D Touch. This allows the phone to provide different functions based on how lightly or firmly the screen is pressed. Chinese Premier Li Keqiang says the country's economy is stabilizing despite a slower growth pace and added that Beijing has no intention to stimulate exports through further currency depreciation. His remarks came during a meeting at the World Economic Forum on Wednesday as he sought to soothe global concern about China's continued devaluation of the yuan and its slowing economy. He said that some economic indicators are fluctuating due to the Chinese government's push for a structural reform and added that Beijing will not be swayed nor take the short-term fluctuations lightly. For more than 3 decades now, Switzerland has hosted the World Economic Forum to discuss a diverse global agenda, and a younger version of that forum, dubbed the Summer Davos Forum, held since 2007, is being held in China as we speak. Our Park Geun-hye is there and fired this report from Dalian.
It's a global forum on innovation, science, and technology. Over 1,700 attendees, global business leaders, renowned scholars, and decision-makers from about 90 countries have all gathered in the eastern Chinese harbor city of Dalian to attend the 9th annual meeting of the New Champions. The annual Summer Summit is an extension of the World Economic Forum, and these sessions put more emphasis on technological advances to seek solutions for the new challenges facing the global community. This year's theme is charting a new course for growth. Co-chair Carlos Moedas says this year's forum will highlight digital technologies as we are at a tipping point of a merger between the physical and digital world.
The digital world will be not on top, but parallel to the physical world, and that we will have this merge in between what's physical and actually what's digital. I think that's the big leverage for the future in terms of innovation and creating the future itself.
The forum's over 155 sessions delve into diverse topics from food security to artificial intelligence, and participants can broaden their understanding and share their expertise.
I really enjoy coming to these meetings because I learn a great deal about other areas besides my own. And the nice thing about artificial intelligence is it can be applied to everything. There's hardly an area of human endeavor where AI doesn't have an application. And so every conversation I have, I learn something really interesting.
On the sideline of the forum, there are exhibitions like this one showcasing the latest in robotics. This robot camera is a collision-tolerant drone that can help rescuers find survivors. It was inspired by the Fukushima disaster, where neither ground robots or flying robots functioned properly because of collisions.
Search and rescue is one of the big applications, but it's for now mostly used in inspection. Inspection of energy infrastructure, oil and gas infrastructure, the underdeck of bridges, water pipes, things like that. All those places where you don't want to send a human because it's a dangerous place and an inaccessible place that costs a lot of money.
And Chinese Premier Li Keqiang will give a special address at the forum's official opening ceremony scheduled for Thursday. Park Ji-won, Arirang News, Dalian.
Now, a sleep expert has suggested that people shouldn't start work until 10 a.m. and school even later. Speaking ahead of a major trial at schools in Britain, Dr. Paul Kelly from Oxford University said starting school an hour later could help teenagers boost their cognitive performance, get better exam results and improve their general health. The leading sleep scientist said a similar move could also help working adults because most people's body clocks do not suit a 9 a.m. working start. Kelly says most developed countries are sleep-deprived societies. Sleep deprivation is serious. It's been linked with diabetes, depression, obesity, and an impaired immune system. Now, more important than brilliant innovations, tangible results that can translate into more than short-term economic success. Our Gwon-soo tells us how businesses are trying to create a more favourable environment for innovators by awarding their achievements.
Good ideas and creativity lead to innovation, an element emphasized by the Korean government and also the Korean-German Chamber of Commerce and Industry, which hosted its first Innovation Awards Wednesday. The event goes along with Korea's signature plan of facilitating a creative economy. The KGCCI Secretary General says so far, Korea has been very successful in taking existing technologies and products and developing them further.
What Korean companies want to do right now, to my understanding, is become technology trendsetters. They want to set the tone so that other companies have to follow their lead.
And setting this tone together, namely fostering cooperation between Korean and German companies, is one way to approach innovation. Merck, a German healthcare, life science and performance materials company in Korea, for instance, cooperates with LG Display by providing its material for the Korean company. The head of Merck Korea wishes for a better environment for innovations to sprout, especially as many small and mid-sized firms in Korea struggle in competing against big players.
Many of the smaller companies are quite creative and contributing a lot to innovation. They have a lot of new ideas and they are highly welcomed by bigger companies to fill up their pipeline with new ideas. And I think this collaboration between small and medium enterprises and big companies, this is something which I think is a key for sustainable innovation success.
Business leaders say for innovative companies, especially smaller ones, to thrive, they need to receive more public recognition, which is why the KGCCI Innovation Award plans to acknowledge promising businesses on a yearly basis and turn the event into a trademark project. Kwon So-ah, Arirang News.
Well, those are the stories we've been following on this Thursday morning here in Seoul. For more of the latest, don't forget to check out our website, arirang.com/news. Have a great day. Goodbye.